Hello everyone, my name is Kelly Vizzini, and I decided to do another vlog instead of the written version today. Um, it seems like this week has been an emotional one for me as far as triggers coming up around my dad's last several months. In which I walked with him on his path to the point of him crossing over. It's an interesting space because I thought a lot of this would have come up last year with all of the shifts and changes that were taking place, all the forced downtime of sorts, but it seems like now it is coming up more and more. Some of it is memories of things that I experienced on that journey and thought about but didn't really have time to, or didn't want to take the time at that point to really delve deep into the emotions surrounding those experiences. It's like one that's coming up again right now has to do with me feeling like I had to release the label of daughter to be able to assist my father in the bathroom. And that's not something we ever think we will need to do, but it was something that was a way for me to help my mom and a way to help my dad when he needed it. It was hard for him as well, and I did share with him how I was checking daughter at the door and allowing caregiver to come through, but I don't think it's ever easy for either one. And although it allowed me to, in some aspect, detach from the emotions that whole experience triggered, it feels like now, today, this week, is the time to begin processing and allowing those emotions to surface. Some of the other experiences were just all the messages that came through in a variety of forms. I'm very much connected with my spiritual guides and loved ones on the other side in a variety of ways. Some of those are through the dream state with messages and visitations that come through the dreams. Some of it is through reoccurring numbers. Others are in songs and in just occurrences while out and about. And I was having quite a lot of messages coming through during that time. I did go back through all of my dream journals for that 4-month period, and this is something he had been going through for about 5 years, but I went back to see when the messages really started coming through, and it was back before his last hospital visit, back at the end of June of 2019, and I was receiving all sorts of things. Experiences of him being on a bicycle, going up a mountain road, and people in cars and motorcycles passing him by, and him saying, well, at least if nothing else, I could make this an electric bike so I could get there faster. Well, that just wasn't how it was meant to be. And as much as we want for them to be with us forever while we're all here. That just wasn't the path. And the path for me was to get a lot of messages. The challenge for me was to determine whether I was to share those with my immediate family, my brother and my mom, or whether it was a message for me. And I think that's an ongoing moment of discernment of which is it. Is it meant for all of us in that moment? Is it meant for me to understand from my perspective where we are, and from the guidance I was receiving? There was a lot of spiritual moments in that time frame. There were situations where I was out driving after visiting my mom and dad, after being there for my dad while my mom was out of the house, and he needed somebody to be there to help him to the restroom and back, and so that he felt comfortable. He really struggled there in those last several months of feeling safe when nobody was there. And he wasn't really stable on his feet anymore, so it was better for me to be in a job that allows me the opportunity to, when needed, go over and help with that process. And on that particular day, as I was leaving to go home, my mom and I were walking out to the car, and she picked up the mail, and in the mail was a newsletter from Hospice of the Valley. And I don't believe she was on the mailing list for any particular reason, so it was a very somewhat emotional piece of mail to receive at that point in time. On the way home from that experience, I was greeted on the road by a funeral procession. And then 2 days later, instead of having my package delivered, inadvertently, a package from Hospice of the Valley was delivered to my home. So for me, there, you might have said the first time, wow, that's just because they were sending out mail. That doesn't really happen in my world anymore. Everything has meaning. And so it's just been a lot of emotions that have been coming up, a lot of trying to avoid the emotions coming up and the memories coming up, wondering why they're all coming up. And one of the things I've learned in recent weeks is anytime that we have that much avoidance around certain situations, that is actually what we need in our life at that point in time on some level. And so part of this week and the next couple of weeks will be digging deeper into those messages. I have written them out from when I received the dreams and when I received the messages, but I've also taken the time last year and actually put them into a Word document, which allowed me to go through another level of understanding of what the messages were, because it wasn't always crystal clear at the time. Some were, but some either I didn't take the time or have the time in the moment because of how many messages were coming through. So it just felt like today that I actually needed to do this video version. I think it's another level of being seen. So much of my business is about the pets and animals. There are all sorts of birds flying around right now. There are about the pets and animals in my care, but part of owning and creating a business, there's a huge aspect that is about us. And whatever I'm going through on a personal level or emotional level, physical level, is very much integrated in with the business. And oftentimes the business will reflect what I'm experiencing on the personal side. I can honestly say during the time that my dad was in his final weeks, final days, pet sittings were dropping off that were previously scheduled. Of course, this was pre-2020, so we didn't have that in play at that point. But my schedule was lightening up for many different reasons. And I'm grateful for that. It's also a learning experience as we go along through life. But I just wanted to share this aspect of my life and the journey that I took with my dad through 2019, and how those emotions, whether we address them then as we're going through the process, there is always going to be another layer that pops up. There's always going to be another trigger that will typically come out of nowhere at us. Just means more is ready to process. So I wanted to share that with you, and I hope you all have a great day. And I hope this helps you in some way, because we all are dealing with similar things, but in ways unique to us. So have a great day. Love you all.